member for Deakin.
Thanks, Mr Deputy Speaker. Look, it gives me pleasure, I suppose, to speak in relation to the Coalition's FoFA reforms, although it hasn't been a pleasurable experience listening to members opposite conflate issues and deliberately scare consumers. I've got no doubt that the intentions behind the original FoFA reforms were honourable, and they were seeking to deal with situations that had arisen where consumers of financial advice had been poorly treated, whether it be Storm Financial, Westpoint and others. And other speakers have mentioned those in detail. But I think it's dangerous for members opposite, by conflating those issues, to create a false sense of security that the FoFA reforms mean that no rogue financial advisors in future could do the same thing to consumers again. That's effectively what you were saying. And lots of people have argued, I think very well, that the FoFA reforms that Labor introduced are not foolproof, and in the circumstances where you do have people, financial advisors, acting unlawfully, consumers will be at risk. But what the problem with Labor's FoFA rules are is that they've imposed unnecessary red tape, regulation and additional burdens on particularly small financial advisors who cannot meet those requirements. And in that sense, the Labor Party, unsurprisingly, was hijacked by the union-dominated industry super funds. So we went from a situation where intentions started off pretty well, but with poor advice and obviously the vested interests of the unions which control the Labor Party, the FoFA reforms were hijacked. And now we see ourselves in a situation where members opposite are in effect trying to conflate issues and argue that this is a situation of the big four banks fighting against industry super funds. No. Our changes to the FoFA rules seek to enshrine the most basic and important protections for consumers of financial advice without creating circumstances that disenfranchise particularly low-income people or people with low asset bases from actually being able to access good quality financial advice. And in my electorate of Deakin, I've got a number of small financial advisors. I don't have big institutions situated in my electorate, and in each of those conversations I've had with the financial advisors in my electorate, there's been concern with Labor's FoFA rules and actually very enthusiastic applause for the Coalition's changes to the FoFA rules. And there's two main reasons. The first is when you run a small financial advising business, often you're advising people with low asset bases. So when you increase the fixed costs that financial advisor has to meet in relation to each additional client, for people with small asset bases, that is actually a big proportion of the cost that then has to be passed on to that particular customer. So here we have situations where financial advisors have said to me, I will be forced to reorientate my practice to take on more customers with larger asset bases, disenfranchising those people who have had low incomes and may not have the large asset bases that they're seeking financial advice in relation to. So perversely, the people that members opposite are protesting that these reforms are there to protect are actually disenfranchising those same people, because the people that need the best financial advice are those with the lower asset bases. They're the people that need the best advice. And if there are customers out there that cannot any longer afford to obtain good quality financial advice because the regulatory burdens placed on their financial advisor are so high that had to be passed on to them and they can no longer seek that advice, well, those are the people that are hurt the most. So, unfortunately, the Labor Party, I think you've picked the wrong fight here. We are trying to maintain the absolute protections to consumers, but at the same time ensuring that financial advisors are able to continue doing the good work that they're doing, and that particularly customers who don't have large asset bases are not disenfranchised from getting that financial advice in the first place, because those are the customers who need it the most. So I would suggest that members opposite should get on board and support the Coalition's FoFA changes.
Order, call the